It's a great town, but it's had some challenges. And I heard that you have been actively involved, so we want to hear about that. But I also found out that you're a lawyer. You came from New York, which is probably an upgrade to come to California. Okay, because I've been to New York as well. But we want to hear your stories. Like you're a lawyer from a big law firm in the New York area, and you're out in Salinas doing some amazing things with people who are really broken and down on their luck and really struggling with how do they pull their life together. So maybe you can introduce yourself. So first, your name and kind of where you were born, how you got started in just in your law career. Tell us a little bit about that.
So my name is David Balch. I'm originally from just north of New York City. I was born in 1970. Um, Coming out of college, I did not know what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to make money and I was good at arguing. So I figured law school was the way to go. Graduated from a good law school and got a job at a large firm in New York City. Uh, One thing that I always carried with me, though, was that I always felt like a misfit. And I was always the king of the misfits. So while I was moving forward up the social ladder, I mean, the firm I was at, we had, fourth century Roman mosaics in the hallway and everything is marble this and marble that. Sometimes I'd have to walk in and be like, okay, sooner or later, they're going to realize I'm a fraud. Um, and I was good at my job, but something inside of me felt like a misfit. And so I've always gravitated towards people outside the system. One of my clients back in 97 asked if I wanted to go into Rikers Island with him to do some prison ministry. I'm like, sure, why not? And it changed my life. And then when I moved out to California, my wife, coming out of medical school, wanted to work at Natividad Medical Center because it's the one place really in the country where you could do family practice but deliver babies and do surgeries. On the East Coast, family practice doctors hand out prescriptions and a lot. So we moved out here and big change, but that's still that feeling of wanting to help those outside the system stayed with me. And ultimately, we set up this organization called Closer Walk, which ministers to and works with people on the streets, not from a service side. Right now, I run the showers, the bathroom, the mail service, the clothing closet, the day room. But my heart is not in the giving of services. It's in the building of community, getting to know people. And so, for me, I sit on the streets talking with, where I'm at in Chinatown is kind of like the Tenderloin. And I was there with a cup of coffee and listening to people's stories, sharing my own stories. Some of them, at first were very standoffish with me. Well, I totally get it. Then they heard I was an alcoholic. I'm like, oh, you're one of us, And then they start sharing. And, I have stage 4 cancer. And I have the last foot of my large intestine is gone. So I have a colostomy bag. And I was sharing that with a homeless guy once. And all of a sudden, he started sharing the way his body's breaking down. And next thing you know, we're just sharing life. And that's really all I'm doing. I hook the people up with services. I'm on a board of a group that does enhanced care management for Medi-Cal. I know transitional services. I help hook them up. But my role is just to journey with people. They ask me for legal work, a lot of restraining orders. It could be that someone was left out of a will because they were homeless. Maybe there was an accident. They want me to help sue. And I do that, some immigration work. But my primary function is getting a cup of coffee and just laughing with people and seeing the way their lives change when they're no longer feeling anonymous. But the thing I wasn't prepared for was the way that I would change. My ability to love. I thought I was already pretty well adept at being able to love people and to nourish. And the last 4 years, I've grown in a way I wouldn't have imagined. And it's symbiotic. And so the people down there minister to me as much as I do to them. They come up to me and like, hey, I haven't seen you. Can I pray for you? I know you're cancer. And it's like, wow, there's love. But they start to see more about themselves than maybe they did before. And now they become ready for transitional housing and navigation services. But I have a small role down there, but enjoying it.
So no, that's where someone kind of bumped into me and said, "Have you heard of Dave?" And I was like, "No, tell me about Dave." So I heard your story, and I heard that you help individuals who are a little bit confused by the legal system. You make it much more accessible, and you help solve some of the blockers that have historically kept them from re-entering into community, getting back into society. So I don't know if there's like one person that you are most proud of or that comes to mind, but I'd love to hear like your version of that story of someone that you've built a relationship with and you've seen them find their way back on their feet.
Perfect. I do want to mention one thing though. There's a way to network different communities. Because I'm a lawyer, I know the district attorney. So I'm getting the district attorney to start setting up something where we can do, homeless court. So to get fines reduced and things like that. I mean, to leverage different communities together. So I got this guy that I'm working with. He volunteered with me for about 3 years, had been in prison for a while. He is a 290 sex offender. Has a lot going against him. Tremendous amount of trauma growing up. Beaten, sexual trauma. And it was frustrating because on a day-to-day basis, I never saw much growth. And he annoyed the heck out of me most days. But every now and then I'd see a breakthrough. I'm like, yay! But I'm looking at it 3 years later, from just out of prison, maybe about to go back into prison because of his addictions. Now he has a job, a house, a wife, and kid. And I was like, you know what? When you look at it from the long-term arc, he was at my house for his son's birthday party the other day. And it was just like, Chris, I'm proud of you. And he still has a long way to go of his own healing. And he knows it, but he's putting in the work. But he realizes he's worth it. And he realizes his wife is worth it. And his kid is worth it to have a healed dad.
Man.
And so, I think of Chris. And I'm like, all right, that's why we're there.
Dave, we love this. In fact, I think we had you just finished up a podcast recording with Ted. So Ted actually has an Innovate recording of your conversation. If you want to hear more of the story from Dave, we'd love to have you kind of check in there. So if you haven't taken a picture of the podcast, wait, there's yet another one opportunity here for you. And Ted wants to remind you to check out the podcasts. They're amazing. Dave, we want to thank you for coming down here, for sharing your story, and for being part of our podcast community.
Well, let me tell you, on the 28th, when you've got, what is that? The celebration of, I want to come to that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I'll be there. I'll be there.
The fentanyl deaths have been really tough on us here recently. So we're trying to do what we can to work with the communities and to inspire people. If this is a compelling event, let's start somewhere.
Beautiful.
So, David, thank you for coming down here. Let's welcome David.